Hello, how you lot doing? I'm Joe Ness, and I'm joined by, as always, Gabriel Porco, and welcome to episode 2 of the Classic 9 podcast. Today we'll be going over last week's fixtures, this week's fixtures, the news, and maybe some other stuff. Gabriel, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great.
You're doing good?
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
It's been a fantastic week for football as well.
It's been a week, we'll put it that way. Let's start on the news. So, Bartomeu resigned from Barca. What do you think of that?
That was weird, wasn't it? I mean, he resigned out of the blue, didn't he? And
yeah, just after saying he wanted to join this European Super League thing. For anyone who was interested, we covered that in the last episode.
yeah, exactly. And he didn't leave. This is not a coincidence, isn't it? Because
Well, no, I mean, Messi wanted him to resign as well.
exactly, and he is in the last year of his contract. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which will have put pressure on the board and him to resign, because the board members are also resigning as well, not just
Yeah,
him.
well, that's the thing with Barcelona at the moment. It is, well, the club it seems to just be rotten from the inside out.
It is. They're just ever since Guardiola left, they've just been appointing coach after coach after coach.
Yeah,
You know,
who used to play for Barcelona.
exactly, and that's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Did you know Ronald Koeman used to play for Barcelona? Has he not told you that?
Really? I didn't know that.
No, surely not. Ron, what you doing, mate? You used to play for Barca. Who saw that coming?
Exactly.
I think one of the main things for this, as well with Bartomeu resigning, though, will this keep Lionel Messi at the club?
I mean, what's your opinion on that? Do you think he's going to leave? Do you think that's going to convince him? I'm not too sure, to be
I
honest.
still think he's going to leave, because you look at the signings they made. I mean, they lost like Arthur, they lost Nelson Semedo, and they brought in was it Pjanic they brought in?
Yeah, that was a straight swap. Not really a straight swap. Let's say they paid money for Pjanic, then Juventus purchased Arthur.
But the thing is with that, I mean, I don't think, I think Barca, when they've made huge signings, have gone horribly wrong. I mean, Coutinho, I think to a degree, Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele. I think as well, the rot really set in for me, I think, when Neymar left.
Spot on. And at the time, people were asking questions about Neymar, about his mentality. They were asking, they were saying, why is he leaving such a good team? Why is he going to PSG? It's obviously with the money.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't seem that stupid. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the fact is as well, I mean, he said he wanted to get out of Messi's shadow.
Exactly.
That's what he claimed to be his motivation on that. Barcelona are in need of a serious rebuild now. I mean, especially now, they're at a time where, the last decade, they have lost, players like Carlos Puyol, Dani Alves, players like Xavi, Iniesta, and they were real anchors of the team. And
exactly, and when you lose players of that ilk, it's difficult to replace them.
Especially when they've been part of the fabric of that club for so long, especially even just in the playing squad. I mean, when all these players left, they were still getting quite a lot of game time, if not the first choice.
Spot on. But as we know, the issues run deep with Barcelona. It's not just the coaches, but the philosophy. I think they have to stop thinking they can play this possessions-based football.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time for, the German teams and Liverpool and pressing teams. So playing this possession football won't get them anywhere, I think.
The thing is, though, as well, I think it's also about having, in terms of a manager, someone who can do that, like Guardiola can do that. However, can you think of anyone who you would describe as a world-class manager who has been at Barca since Guardiola?
I couldn't. Even Enrique did win the treble, but overall,
before that, he wasn't
exactly.
And even after that, I mean, they've gone from Enrique, Setien, they've had Tito Villanova, and none of them were out, none of them were even close to that level, sort of caliber of manager.
Listen, Setien was literally, I think he was petting his goat when they told him about the job offer. Honestly, this is the level of managers we're talking about.
Yeah, again though, I mean, what you said with the sort of identity of Barcelona as having a former player as the manager, and quite a lot of the managers who have managed Barca after Guardiola have all played for Barca, including Ronald Koeman.
Really? He played for Barcelona?
Yeah, he did. Did you know that? We can leave this in the podcast.
Absolutely, I'm leaving this.
When we eventually start releasing proper videos where you can see us, you can't see right now, or Gabriel can, but all of you watching, but I am waving and I'm about to have a sip of my delicious Newcastle brown ale. I don't think we want to turn this into the brewery podcast. Exactly. Albeit I might do a real ale podcast at some point. That might be fun.
That could be a good new format for us, yeah.
Yeah, actually, we should do like a drink-along thing if we ever do like a live stream or something.
Well, let's just do like a weekly show where we're just drunk.
I mean, to be fair, I recorded that Newcastle thing. What's going on? Drunk. Well, a bit drunk. I wasn't hammered, but like I was a bit drunk.
Anyway, let's move on. So Rashford takes on the MPs.
Yes, Marcus Rashford versus Boris Johnson. Can we please get them in like a cage or something?
Exactly. Do you see the edit on Twitter? They put Boris in a Man City shirt and Rashford just doing a skill. I mean, honestly, I've never seen that. I know some footballers do charity and they do stuff in their private, and they don't. Yeah. But I've never seen such this to such an extent where a footballer is taking on.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, government. That's the thing. I mean, right now, I mean, you've got to give, regardless of who you support, you have to praise Rashford for this. I mean, this is, to be honest, I think this is more important to him than the football now.
I disagree because you may not know this, people, but we're recording this on Wednesday evening, and Rashford's just got a hat-trick. So for those people who say Rashford should stick to football, well, you know what.
Well, exactly. He could do both. He could do Boris. I don't want to get into politics. You know, when a footballer's having to come out and say you should be feeding the kids, you know your government isn't doing well.
Exactly, but this is not about who you support. It's about what Rashford is doing.
Yeah, this isn't even about who you support or what he's doing. This is about right and wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, spot on.
So, like, you know, credit where it's due to Rashford. It's it's fantastic what he's doing. I wish a lot more footballers would do this. I know Juan Mata has a similar thing with the 1% campaign.
He does, yeah. Where basically
where footballers donate 1% of the salary to charity, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we need more good guys in football. You know, it makes the game so much better as well, having some actual likable players.
And I'm sure a lot more will start doing charities now that they've seen what Rashford can bring.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, the Premier League right now needs to have this, like, sort of front that, we're a bunch of nice people when they're corrupt, but like they need that front at the minute, don't they?
Exactly. Now they'll probably use the excuse that Rashford's a Premier League player. Oh, look, that's what Premier League players do.
Yes, this is what we represent.
Exactly.
Besides enabling the wrong people to buy their teams,
exactly.
Or like trying to control everybody else's team, as we found out with the big picture project, but that's gone now. However, obviously we're still dealing with the European Super League thing now.
Exactly. It's
just one thing to another, isn't it?
Yeah. So listen, we were not trying to destroy lower league teams. We're just trying to make more money. And look, there's Rashford. Woo!
Well, that's the thing. They could have just given them more money.
Exactly,
yeah. That's the thing. You know, to do this, like the Big Six I think they were going to give the FA or the Premier League or something like 100 million to look the other way.
Yeah, I saw that. That's corruption. That's literally, if you had to look corruption in a dictionary, that's what would come up. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm
bribery in this case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely convinced, like, there were other forces at play with the Newcastle takeover, but more on those developments later. So, Gabriel, what else have we got to talk about today?
Go ahead. To actually do it, because, yeah.
Okay. So, essentially, from our current knowledge, is that there's been a consortium of Newcastle United fans who have gained the backing of Mike Ashley, who want to take they have served the Premier League with legal papers and are taking them to a sporting body called CAT. They are claiming that the rejection of the takeover was against competition laws. So hopefully, come on Newcastle fans, hopefully this time, come on, let's just get this done, please. I'm sick of hearing about it. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, you've been hearing about it for 5 years. I mean, it's
Well, not just that. I remember at the start of lockdown. Wait, is the Newcastle takeover finally done? Please give us this one ray of hope in such a grim time. But they dragged it out, and as usual, nothing happened. But hopefully, come on, let's get it done this time, please. Because I think the Premier League have been exposed for the corruption now. And come on, if this goes through, then Richard Masters goes as well. Okay, so now moving on to the roundup of last week's fixtures, we're going to begin with the Villa Leeds game, which I think we predicted would be like a 1-1 or something. It finished 3-0 to Leeds with Patrick Bamford scoring a hat-trick. So ends Aston Villa's unbeaten start in the league. Gabriel, what do you have to say?
I was not very impressed with Aston Villa, but again, they were facing a very good team, and they were facing an informed Patrick Bamford, who scored his, if I'm correct, 6th Premier League goal of this season, which is very impressive. And he was sharp. He was sharp, and credit to Leeds, they played very well.
The thing is, though, I mean, you have to be realistic about both teams. It's a weak Aston Villa side and a Leeds side that are running purely on momentum at the moment. Because, I mean, let's face it, Patrick Bamford, he was rejected. He was like, nobody rated him at Chelsea, Middlesbrough, Burnley when he's been in the Premier League. So, but I had to give him praise where it's due. Bamford has started really well in the Premier League, so a good result for Leeds there. Marcelo Bielsa's his sort of fluid formation seems to be quite effective so far in the league, and welcome back to Leeds again.
Next fixture, West Ham 1, Man City 1. Not a great start by Guardiola's Man City.
No, definitely not. So we have Phil Foden and Mikel Antonio with the goals. Antonio actually put West Ham 1 up against City as well. So, I mean, they had the lead for, a decent amount of time. For
51 minutes. But we have to say that the introduction of Phil Foden was game-changing.
Yes. I really do rate Foden. I can't wait to see how he develops.
Me too. I can't wait to see him play for England. Even though I'm not English, I like to see England do well because they're a great footballing nation.
Yeah.
And but we all know why he wasn't playing recently.
Yeah, because Phil Foden did something in Iceland, didn't he?
Let's say he was putting other balls in other nets.
Yeah, as was Mason Greenwood.
Exactly.
Mason Greenwood putting the wood in Greenwood.
What do you think? How is Man City's season going to pan out? Do you think it's done for Guardiola? Do you think he's out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's done because I think it's also looking done for for all the other big teams. It's been a bad start for everyone. But if you look at the stats in this game, City had 70% possession, 14 shots, 7 on target, whereas West Ham only got 30% possession with 6 shots, 2 of which on target. With City, I think they are the luck is just not on their side at the minute, and they are really, really, really still missing Vincent Kompany.
They are, and David Silva, even though
they're both leaders,
Yeah, and Aguero's not at his best. They were literally part of the spine of the team for 10 years.
It's quite sad because that City team that first won the league in 2012 was quite a special team.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, as much as you hate to admit it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Fulham and Crystal Palace. I think I predicted this would be a 1-1 or a 0-0 or something. But it finished 2-1 to Palace. So Jairo Riedewald and Wilfried Zaha scored for Palace. Tom Kearney getting a goal for Fulham, and Kamara being sent off on the 88th minute after coming off the bench as well. This was a straight red, so he will be suspended for the next 3. So in this game, I think this was a case of just Palace have more class than the Fulham.
They do. They just have better play than Fulham. And I think we mentioned it on the last podcast, but Fulham do play They do play some nice stuff, as you can see.
Yeah, it is
possession, but on the counter attack they got killed. Yeah,
well, the stats are saying 65% possession for Fulham, 16 shots, only 3 on target for Fulham, whereas Palace, with 35%, managed 14 shots and 10 on target. I think you maybe had to point the finger a bit at Mitrovic there and Ademola Lookman, the strikers for Fulham. They're just wasting chances. They're getting the chances, but they're wasting them. I mean, as I recall, Mitrovic was not a clinical finisher at Newcastle, so it's one of them things. You need to take your chances, otherwise you will get punished, as generally goes this league. Anywho, going on to an amazing game now, a game that nobody could have predicted the result for. Two titans of English football, eternally locked together in a rivalry now. It was Man United and Chelsea, and it finished 0-0. Gabriel, what do you have to say about this?
Literally, that's so we could literally move on to the next game. That was the dullest affair overall, honestly. It was.
Let's just have a quick look. It was very evenly matched, about 50-50 possession. Man United managed 14 shots, 4 on target. Chelsea 6 shots, only 1 on target. Neither team really, for me, really tried to win that. I mean, Man United maybe tried a bit harder than Chelsea, but it's not saying a lot.
I'd agree. Spot on. I'd agree with that. Neither team wanted to lose, and that showed.
Yeah. Okay, now on to Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 1. As I recall, Sander Berge put Sheffield United up with a 1-0 up at Anfield with a penalty. Then Roberto Firmino equalised just before half-time, and Diogo Jota scored the winner. Liverpool, we need to talk about their injury crisis. I mean, Fabinho is injured now. Matip's injured.
Van Dijk, obviously.
Yeah, Van Dijk's injured.
And Salah was pulling.
This is going to be a hard season for Liverpool.
Yeah, and Salah, obviously, we saw him against Midtjylland pulling his hamstring in the tunnel. So, honestly, if you're a Liverpool fan right now,
be worried.
Liverpool, at this moment in time, they're not in the best shape, and I think when you look at their last 2 results and 2 performances, what I've noticed is that a better team would have punished them. So they need to be very careful.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've been scraping through for a long time now. Basically, since Project Restart, they've been just sort of scraping through games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next game
is Southampton Everton.
One sec. Let me do it. We'll do one. I'll do this one.
You do Southampton Everton. I'll do Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Right. Southampton 2, Everton 0. Southampton played very well in this game.
Yeah, fair play, Southampton. James Ward-Prowse, one of my favourite players, getting a goal. And Shea Adams. I actually do rate James Ward-Prowse quite highly. And Luca Digne getting sent off. What do you make of that?
Now, it's a tricky one for me because obviously it was unintentional. You can clearly see it. But
I had to agree to a certain point with Ancelotti where he says it's just because of the Van Dijk thing in the Merseyside derby. But also, it's Jordan... Oh, no, it wasn't Jordan Pickford. It was Luca Digne. I'm so used to being like Jordan Pickford's a T-Rex or something. But Everton got unlucky for that. I think I'd appeal that.
They did appeal it. And now, they did, and now he's back for the United game. So he only missed one game.
Good. Digne is a fantastic left back.
He is. Used to play for Barcelona and was
Guess
a very
who
good
else
left
used
back
to
for
play
them.
for Barcelona?
Wait, who, Joe? Who was that?
Ronald Koeman.
Really?
Yeah. You know who else actually used to play for Barcelona?
Who?
Patrick Kluivert, who also played for Newcastle, but he's better known for Barca. But when we signed Kluivert, he was 29. He was terrible for us. Continuing on with Southampton, just a look at the stats. Southampton managed about 55% possession, 13 shots in total, 6 on target. Everton were managing 6 shots and only 2 on target. So I think they were really missing Richarlison there, and I believe Hammers actually played this game. They're really missing Richarlison there, but obviously it's Alex Iwobi. Richarlison is bloody miles better.
Exactly, yeah. But to be fair, I think this game was more of a case of Southampton playing well than Everton.
Everton playing badly, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
both,
I mean,
actually.
it could have gone Southampton were a bit more dominant and they had more chances, and in the end they were more clinical, as well as Everton having a man sent off. Yeah.
Next game for you, Joe.
Yes, the next game was Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Newcastle United 1.
What did I tell you? I predicted a draw.
I actually said 1-1 on this as well, didn't I?
Oh, I said 2-2. Oh,
yeah, you said 2-2. I said 1-1. Absolutely terrible game to watch. We did not go into this even trying to win it. It took 80 minutes for Wolves to eventually punish Raul Jimenez scoring a screamer. Then Jacob Murphy just before the end of regular time, smashing in a fantastic free kick. Fair play to Jacob Murphy there. So anyway, what I need to talk about with this one is what the hell was Bruce thinking? Like, Almiron and Fraser in central midfield, Jacob Murphy playing at right back. Granted, he did well on that day. He got man of the match. He did well that day, Jacob Murphy. So, hats off for him there. But the sort of 5-3-2 didn't work, especially without like a midfield anchor like Isaac Hayden who can break up play. Also, don't particularly agree with starting Saint-Maximin up front. I really don't know what Bruce was doing in this game.
I don't know either. I'm going to ask you a question. Obviously, I think I know the answer, but has this performance changed your opinion on him?
On Bruce?
On Bruce, yes.
I didn't rate him to start with. I mean, I've been fair to him, but I've never rated him.
It is, yeah, it is. I think it's just, papering over the cracks again.
Yeah, again, it's like putting a bloody plaster over an axe wound. We only had 5 shots, 2 on target. That was terrible. Wolves managed 16 shots and 3 on target. So statistically, Wolves really should have punished us there, and we should have, if the game had kept going, we probably would have conceded more. I mean, even come half time, we could have been 3 down.
You say that, but then first of all, you were sitting very, very deep. There was like a plane. It wasn't even a bus, it was a plane. But then
Gabriel, this is like, as I said in What's Going On, this is how Steve Bruce plays. It's like unbearable.
Yeah, you're right, because Benitez,
Benitez could do that, but you at least get a result.
Yeah, but at least when you looked at Benitez,
and also we had obviously Benitez is a big fan of target men, isn't he? And we had Rondon, Perez, and Almiron. Obviously, Rondon could hold up the ball, spray it off like Perez at Almiron. They would run forward, then he could get back in the box to finish it.
Okay. All right, last thing on this game. So Wolves, you said that, of course, you were very deep. You play very deep.
Yeah.
But it did sort of work because Wolves were reduced to shooting from outside the area, which they eventually scored from, but,
Yeah, if you keep allowing teams chances like that, Wolves, they are quite good from outside the area as well. Wolves, the thing is though, Wolves weren't great in this game.
It's not looking good, is it?
No, I still stand by. I don't think Steve Bruce will be the manager come the end of the season.
What about Nuno? Do you think a bigger team will go in for him?
Yeah, I think he would be worth it, punt for a team like I'm not going to say Everton now because obviously they've got Ancelotti, but for Arsenal.
So you don't rate Arteta?
He's unproven, and I think he shouldn't starting your managerial career at Arsenal is a bit much. If it goes well, then it's a gamble that's paid off. But at least Nuno, Nuno is a proven Premier League manager now.
Talking about Arsenal, what a great segue to the next game, which was Arsenal 0, Leicester 1. Yeah. Leicester, I think Brendan Rodgers' game plan actually worked very well.
What, just bring on Vardy?
Well, yeah, basically hold on to the result until Vardy comes on.
And then he can punish him with the pace.
Exactly.
And the thing is, though, this is Alan Pardew-esque tactics that, sit back, hit them on the counter.
God, I remember the days where Brendan Rodgers was rated as highly as, an elite manager, but obviously...
I know, I don't get why people have done that with him. He's not that good a manager. He's a great project builder. He's not as good as Pochettino, but he's a great project builder, as we've seen at Leicester and Liverpool and Swansea as well, actually. But there's only so far Brendan Rodgers can take a team realistically.
Now I want to touch on Arsenal. On Arsenal, what's going on? What's going on with Arsenal?
God knows. It's Arsenal. That's one of them things. It's just Arsenal. It's the only way to describe it. Yeah.
The thing that would worry me if I were an Arsenal fan would be that you're flat. You're not playing particularly well. You're flat.
Yeah. That's the thing. Arsenal have the odd good performance, but that sort of 3-4-3 that they played, which could also be 5-2-3. I don't think the wing-back system works anymore in the Premier League.
Exactly. Conte won the league with that system, but that was 3 years ago.
And even that came undone the next season.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, as well, is Dani Ceballos actually that good?
Or
is there possibly another player that they could bring in? A player who's, he's in the reserves at the minute. A German bloke with big eyes.
He didn't used to play for Barcelona, but for the other team.
No, he didn't used to play for Barcelona, but he used to play for Real Madrid.
Who could that be? Because I can't see anyone in the squad.
But guess what? He can see you because his eyes are massive.
Exactly.
And he's not in the 25-man squad.
And if you occasionally play Fortnite, you might be, you might play against him.
Yeah.
No, honestly, on the Arsenal situation, isn't it funny that the one player that they're missing at the moment...
They already have. And they just refuse to play him. Just for context, this would be like, actually, we saw it with Alan Pardew and Hatton Ben Arthur, but this would be like Steve Bruce going out over to Alan St. Maximin going like, Alan, I just think we've got better options in the squad. Like Joe Linton. So we're not going to have you in the squad this season. So you can go and train with Ashraf Lazar, Rolando Aarons, and Henri Saivet. Okay, now Jamal, go get me kebab for us, Jamal.
Next game.
Okay, the next game, it couldn't involve a team from the South Coast and a team from the Midlands in a clash, trying to avoid relegation. It was Brighton Hove Albion West Brom. The battle of the Albions. It's the Albion derby.
And it finished 1-1.
Yeah, finished 1-1. And both goals were scored by West Brom. Jake Livermore with an own goal and Ahern Grant with the goal for West Brom. West Brom got unlucky on that.
Yeah, they did.
Because when you score an own goal, that must hurt, especially when you've scored one goal. And even looking at the statistics, it was about 50-50 possession, but West Brom had 9 shots and managing to get a third of them on target.
Yeah, I thought, West Bromwich will be disappointed with the result.
Yeah, West Brom will be disappointed there.
They will feel they could have got all 3 points. Yeah,
at the Amex as well. I guess if you're West Brom, any point away from home's good, but they could have had all 3 there. They really could have. Anywho,
moving on to an amazing game. No, I'm not gonna do that every time, but I love that.
I'm just reserving that for really terrible games.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, this one involves a team from the Northwest. It is. Well, actually, it's not just a huge team from the Northwest. It's a huge team from North London as well. It's Burnley and Tottenham.
And it finished 1-0.
1-0. And it was Heung-min Son.
Honestly, I did. If you told me this result and if you watched the game, I couldn't have told you who was Burnley and who was Tottenham.
Well, you could probably tell because Burnley had 38% possession.
Apart from
but also the fact Burnley playing claret and blue.
Oh yeah, of course.
And Burnley are managed by a Dalek. But Burnley managed 13 shots with 4 on target. Spurs only managed 9 with 3 on target. So this game was a bit deceiving.
Exactly. Burnley did. I thought, they did.
Yeah, they could have got something out of this. Yeah, they could have got something out of that.
If it were a better team.
If they were a better team, but unfortunately, they are Burnley.
But I think the main point, the headline from this game is probably
the Burnley are Burnley.
No. The main talking point is the partnership of Son and Kane. They're absolutely astonishing.
Fantastic players. Obviously, Kane's lethal himself, but now he's starting to be more creative as well. Another assist for Harry Kane there.
Exactly, and that's 8 Premier League goals for Heung-min Son.
Yeah. I was actually surprised Gareth Bale didn't even get off the bench for this game.
Anyway, let's move on to
this week's games. So this Friday we kick off with Wolves Crystal Palace in the 8 p.m. game. This is at Molineux. What do you think's going to happen in this game, Gabriel?
Okay, so I'm predicting. Don't be surprised. I'm predicting a magnificent 0-0.
I'm predicting 1-0 Wolves.
Yeah, that's
Wolves are a better team than Palace, and I don't think Palace are as negative as us, so that'll allow Wolves some more space in behind. So then we have a magnificent game here: Sheffield United, Man City.
Two very big teams. All right, I think this is. I can't give. I'm doubtful.
I can't confidently say, guarantee that City would are going to win this game.
But I will. I know you can't, but I will.
I'm not
give them a
guarantee they will. I think they will, but I can't confidently guarantee it. Is what I mean.
Okay, so I'm predicting a 1-0 win.
I'm going to say 2-0 City.
All right.
Then we have one of our favourite teams, and
Burnley.
What seems to be a running joke in this series, Burnley Chelsea.
Oh my God, the mighty Blues against Burnley. Right. What are you predicting for this one?
I actually think this is going to be a draw, because Burnley did well against Tottenham, but Chelsea didn't try against Man United. And Burnley do tend to make it very hard for anyone going to their ground. So yeah, I'm going to say 0-0. Fantastic game there. Amazing.
Depending on Chelsea's formation, I'm predicting if they play with a back four, I'd expect a draw. If they play with a back five, I'd expect a win.
Yeah, I'm maybe leaning the other way on that one, because I'm sick of teams with back fives at the minute.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend.
Yeah, apparently Steve Bruce is going to launch his new innovative formation called just called 10.
10, yeah. Or 9-1. Next game, Liverpool host West Ham on Saturday. Yeah. It's a 5:30 kickoff.
I think West Ham might actually nick that.
Ooh, that's a big.
I'm gonna go say 1-0 West Ham.
I'm not gonna go that way. I think they'll win. I think they'll win. Let's say 2-1. Liverpool 2-1 win.
All right. Now on to the 4 games that are happening on Sunday. I will be in the pub watching these. So we have an amazing game, two absolute titans of English football who have both been in the Prem for a lot of years, albeit they've all both just sort of recently come back. Villa and Southampton. I'm going to say 0-0.
Oh my! You know what? For once, I'll agree with you. 0-0.
I can't say that.
I still want it to be a 0-0.
Newcastle Everton next.
I'm sorry to tell you, but that's going to be an Everton win, unfortunately.
I think it's going to be. You know what? I'm going to say we're going to scrape it 1-0.
That's confident.
Well, I mean, we did, as bad as we were against Wolves, we did defend quite well. I'd maybe drop Shelby. Well, actually, you didn't play in the last game. But, sorry, actually, I'd maybe drop Hendrick and play Hayden. And also, stop putting wingers in central midfield.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Bruce. Let's go.
Yeah. In other news, Steve Bruce is apparently wanting to play Gillespie up front. For those of you who don't know, Gillespie is our third choice keeper.
He'll probably score, isn't he?
Yeah, it'll be like Gillespie and Andy Carroll up front. At least you've got height in your attacking line that way.
Right, next game is a top 6 battle. It's Manchester United against Arsenal on Sunday.
I don't know which way I'm going on that. I'm going to say 1-0 Man United.
I think I'd agree with you. I think it's going to be, again, I think Arsenal are going to defend.
You are better than Arsenal. You're better than Arsenal. I think
Rashford
will score.
I'm predicting Cavani to score first. So
I'm going to go Rashford on that.
1-0. Next game, Tottenham hosts Brighton.
I'm going to say 2-0 Tottenham on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to say 3-1 on this one for Tottenham.
Yeah. And now on to the Monday fixtures. Oh, what an excellent game. I can't wait for this one, Gabriel. This is an amazing one. It is 2 teams in the Premier League. Well, obviously, because we're talking about the Premier League, but it's Fulham and West Brom.
What an advert for the Premier League. This is going to be a majestic...
Can I just say, this is a 5:30 kickoff as well. It kicks off at 5:30 on a Monday.
That's honestly...
That's how little faith. And guess what as well? It's on Sky Sports box office, so you got to pay 15 quid for it. You gotta pay 15 quid for Fulham and West Brom. Jesus Christ, I can't wait for that.
They're literally taking the piss, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say 0-0 on this.
No, go on. I'll be lenient on that one, and I'm gonna go with a West Brom win, 1-0 win.
Then again, is that Fulham? Actually, I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna go 1-0 Fulham. Mitrovic score.
And the final game is Leeds United against
Leicester. Oh, this one actually should be a good game. I don't mean that sarcastically. I'm going to say, you know what, Elder? I'm going to say Leeds win 2-1.
I think it's a draw. It has a draw written all over it.
I just want to see a winner there. I would rather see Leeds. I think it will probably be a draw, but I'd rather see Leeds win it. So I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds.
Anyway, thanks for listening to us. This was the second episode of the Classic 9 podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want to follow us, just drop a like. Follow us on all streaming platforms. Subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.